I want to ask you how to reconnect with myself, with that being, with love, as you
Well,
say.
that's the reason you're here. Because that's exactly what the system's for. To come back to your authentic being, that which you came with. So as you're using the facets, you start to expand consciousness, and everything that's not real, which is part of your program, your fears, will start to fall. The stress will start to leave, and your authentic self, which you can feel, your divinity that's in your heart, will start to expand. And that's the whole essence of the system. It's not about learning anything. It's about letting go of that which isn't real and coming home to that which is real, which is you, your authentic being. So it's a process, and it will start to happen quickly. And the more you unify with your eyes closed, the quicker you come back to that space, the more it expands. When you're walking around with your eyes open, use the facets. Come back into the present moment. Stop accumulating more stress. Start to live here now, in this moment. When the emotions come, because of the self-abandonment, feel the emotion. You know, it's very simple. The system is simple. It's as if you're being a child within a mature experience. Your innocence comes back, your joy comes back, your emotions come back, your connection with yourself comes back, and as a consequence, your connection with everything. Because you leave your head and start to live in your heart. Yeah?
I don't want to achieve anything else in the outside. All that I did, it was with so much stress and exigence that I don't want to feel those things again. Or, as I'm getting deeper in me, nothing of the outside, the material or achievements are attractive. I'm not clear
You
what
know,
is.
when you start to see that what you have or what you've achieved is no longer fulfilling, it's a call to find you. And you have to go in the opposite direction. When it gets to such an extreme where you've lost interest, it's time to go in. You know, like a bear that goes into hibernation. And you start to cultivate experience of consciousness. And then you find joy. You know, humans have this false idea that what I do brings me happiness. But it's not permanent. Because the external's always changing. You know, people die, you lose money, economies collapse, partners leave, children grow up. I mean, everything's always changing. So if your happiness is fixed, it can't last. It's impossible. You have to have the happiness internally. And you take that happiness into what you're doing. And you give that happiness and that joy and that clarity and that power. And then you have a unity between the internal and the external. And that's when life becomes fun. Because you start to enjoy simple things. Or the abundance you have, you can enjoy. Because normally, people that have everything are still not enjoying. Because there need to be more, 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 more. That's the beauty of consumerism. It's great. We can consume, consume, consume. Oh, I've got a credit card. Consume more, consume more, consume more. All our basic needs are covered. We're not looking for food or clothes. In fact, the opposite. We have too much. And then all of a sudden, we go, oh, this isn't making me happy. No matter what I do, I'm not feeling complete. There must be more. There must be more. All my success, all my achievements, I'm still not feeling complete. And that's the perfect moment. That's the moment that we decide to come home to ourselves. And that's why people come here, to find themselves. Because it's like we're chasing our illusionary tail. And still, we don't feel complete. So once you have that, you enjoy everything. And the irony is, you want to simplify. You don't want to keep creating more and more and more and more. You want to simplify and enjoy what you actually have. And that's a beautiful moment in our lives. Or if you're creating and growing in business or exploring life as a youth or whatever. If you have internal connection, you're already successful. And then you can experience everything without creating suffering. Because if your achievements define your success and they fail, where's the joy? It's gone. It's gone. So we have to be the joy. Be the love. Be the consciousness. And then we can do whatever we want.
About relationships. I have a friendship after 2-3 years, and then we decided to share as a relationship, partners living together. And it's crazy because with somebody you have a good relationship and you share so many things as a friend, and when you change the label and you're a partner, became another person. It doesn't make sense, but what's the healthy thing of living together with somebody without changing that?
They always say that marriage is the beginning of divorce. Yeah. Well, you can't get divorced if you're not married. Huh? You know, obviously, when you're living with someone, everything comes to the surface, no? So you have to decide for your relationship, are you going to use that to grow or you're going to use that to break? And that you have to decide. You know, whether you can live together or it's going to ruin the relationship. Or you can use everything to completely heal. Because it's a completely different situation when you live with someone. I live with a dog. And I'm very happy. Huh? And it's my longest relationship. So don't ask me.
If I have a purpose or objective in the future, how do I apply to plan something in the future if the thing is to be here now always?
Okay. So when I say to be here now, it doesn't mean you don't have to organize your life. You know, if you're going to fly to Uruguay, you have to buy a ticket. What I'm talking about is to be present in each moment. Like if you're doing something for the future, be present in that moment, doing that. But the principal thing humans do is they worry about the future, or they regret the past, or they take a past experience into this moment, which stops them from seeing everything new. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. Every day you need to see yourself afresh and everything else, because everything's always changing. It's like the Buddha said, you never see the river twice. It's never the same river. It's always changing. We think it's the same, but it's not the same. It's always changing. Yeah, and we have to be open to that. So how do we see change? Through our own change. Because when I change, the world changes. So, if you have to plan the future, plan it 100% in that moment, and then come back here. Don't start worrying, oh, did I make a mistake? Should I be going? Should I be staying? Humans love to suffer. They love indecision. Love it. And cut it. Praise love for this moment in its perfection. Simple.
But I define, after 40 years of being a smoker, to stop. And not because I was sick, but I decided. But what happened was 12 to 15 kilos more, and we are going up. And I think I'm too much in my judgment, no? It's beating myself up, and I need you talking about that to go deeper. Because possible is one of my biggest conflicts with my body. I don't accept it, and I'm every day fighting with that.
Okay. You know, the first thing is you have to see that all of these behaviors are habitual. And you know that's the fault of your mother. Because every time you cry, she sticks something in your mouth. Okay, so if it's not a cigarette, it's food. It's something. But what is provoking this? Anxiety. That's why you're overeating. That's why you were smoking. So what do you have to heal? The anxiety. So before you go for the fridge or for the cigarette, you have to go in with the facet and connect and do something different. Connect to the emotion. Connect to the anxiety, because you're still stuffing it. Huh? You have to allow it to leave and use the facets. And instead of eating, go for a walk. Like, find something that disciplines your life. You know, keep track of what you're eating. Be careful, because it's another way for you to punish yourself. You know, before it was smoking, now it's eating. You have to find a place internal that becomes so important that you're not going to abandon yourself. And it's a process. But your first problem is your anxiety. Straight to put something in your mouth. You know, it's just an addiction. You have to get addicted to consciousness. You have to get addicted to consciousness. If you smoke, you hate yourself. If you overeat, you hate yourself. Find something that makes you love yourself.
And my question is how to find or recuperate to that inner child with the responsibilities and commitments I have as an adult, and to be able to enjoy this game of life in a better way.
You know, the thing is, you're a mature woman. And you have responsibilities. And you have to act upon those responsibilities. But what's the difference with the child? They're spontaneous. They're joyful. They're in the moment. They feel their emotions. They look through the eyes of love. And if they don't judge themselves. So as an adult, you can be responsible and still do all of those things because they're part of you. So as you expand consciousness, those things will become natural because they're the response of love. To be joyful, to be innocent, to be in the moment, to feel emotion. Humans are vulnerable. And when adults are vulnerable, they're joyful. They're not protecting themselves or their image. It's not that we protect ourselves, because our true self is invincible. It's eternal. Our image, it's fragile. It can be offended. It can be laughed at. So, you have to find yourself, be secure in your being, and then that will come back naturally. Yeah?
Why do we have fear?
It's all to do with the image as well. It always comes back to that. Because children don't have fear. They're not born with fear. They create fear. And it's part of the human experience. It's what limits us. And on some level, it's what protects us because of our fragility, no? You know, if we know that we put our hand in a fire, it's going to hurt, no? So we have fear. But emotional fear is completely attached to our image. Fear of abandonment. Why? Because we don't feel secure. All of the external fear is because we don't know who we are. We're not secure within ourselves. We're not anchored in consciousness. We've got too much invested in the external and what the external thinks. People are so afraid of being disapproved, so afraid of being laughed at, so afraid of looking stupid. All of those fears are because we've lost our internal strength. We've lost our divinity.
Hemos perdido la conexión con la divinidad.
It's not lost,
No se ha
it's
perdido
just
la divinidad,
disconnected.
se ha desconectado.
Yeah? Because when we have that,
Porque cuando tenemos eso,
we have trust.
tenemos confianza.
And when we have
Y
trust,
cuando tenemos confianza,
we flow.
fluimos.
And when we
Y
flow,
cuando fluimos,
everything
todo
opens.
se abre.
But it's the human
Pero
experience.
es la experiencia humana,
Fear.
el miedo,
It's the human
es la
experience.
experiencia humana,
It's not our divine
no
experience.
nuestra experiencia divina. How that is happen when we are aligned with ourselves inside? So many things change in the outside that you don't expect.
Sure. You know, the universe always aligns with us because we are that. So it's not that anything changes externally. Internally, when we elevate our vibration, what we perceive externally and create externally is part of that. Because as we evolve, the illusion evolves. I call it the illusion not because it's not real, but because it's changing all the time. It's evolving all the time. And it's all interrelated. It's like with our interpersonal relationships. As we change, our relationships change. Our friendships change. And the beautiful thing about consciousness is everything becomes easy. You know, I used to think success was a synonym of stress. Working, 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 working. But as you start to have consciousness, firstly you stop working and you start living because you enjoy everything you're doing. And then everything starts to open. Everything opens easily. Before there'd be blocks everywhere. But as you change and you say yes and you flow instead of putting all your fears and limitations and ideas and controls and it's like that. I heal myself, I heal the world. And it's like that. And if something happens, I use that to grow too. It's not that it converts into Disneyland, but I flow and I live in praise, love and gratitude. And that makes everything flow. Yeah? So I see yes. It always makes me laugh in the 6 months. Because the people go home and they say, oh, everyone changed. Oh, my parents changed. My partner changed. Everything changed. They still think it's external. But it's not. It's them that changed.
Not letting go of your personal power.
So we have all these ideas of how everyone should be. And we think they should be like we are, or else they're not respectful, not loving, not this, not appreciative, not that. And we want to change everyone to be at our standard. And when they're not at our standard or our belief, we suffer. We have to take responsibility for how we're being, because no one can make you suffer unless you allow them. Because you did that, you don't love me. I suffer. Because you did that, It proves you don't respect me. So I suffer. Did they make you suffer? No. You chose to suffer because you want to change. I want you to be different. I want you to change. And if you don't change, I can't be happy. And if you love me, you'd change. But obviously you don't love me because you never change. But it's like that, no? But why should they change? So you're happy. Why should they be different? So they're you? No. So why do you want everything to change? Because you're not happy with yourself. And once you realize that my responsibility is for me to be happy with me. And then I choose whether I want something in my life or not. It's my choice. But no one makes you suffer. You choose to suffer. And that's when you lose your power. And that's when you're not taking responsibility for your life, your choices. And you know, it's an interesting thing because 99.9% of humanity does not take responsibility. We blame everything. Everything. We blame our children, we blame the economy, we blame the politicians, we blame the weather, we blame everything. I'm not happy because. To the point where people even decide they can't live anymore. Why? Because they don't take responsibility. Once you have consciousness and you have this internal abundance, you take responsibility for yourself. And instead of taking, you give, you empower, you allow, and you learn the greatest mantra. It is what it is. That's the secret. Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.